Newt was the expanse of the sky, particularly the night sky, often depicted as the cow. And this is the significance of her counterpart Jeb, who is beneath her, depicted with the immense extending phallus. Newt and Jeb were constantly having sex to create life. Deity Shu, the god of air, who holds up Newt into the sky, and which mates with the earth. Jeb, the god of the earth. And so the sky mates with the ground, mates with the earth. And this is why you bust your nut. And this is why there is the hieroglyphic emphasis. Newt is the metaphorical proverbial barrier between the ordered cosmos of the world and the forces of chaos beyond, or in other words, the watery abyss of the womb of the goddess beyond the order of the world. One of the sacred symbols of Newt was the ladder used by Osiris to enter her heavenly skies, or in other words, to enter her heavenly womb. And the ladder, as I've covered in the previous series, is the symbol of the world pillar, the cosmic pillar, the axis mundi, the male phallic, the ladder, Jacob's ladder to heaven, the ascension process into the heavens. In other words, in the microcosm of the body, it's the spine, the ascension to the heavens. But in the macrocosm, it is the world phallic pillar. It is the ascension into the womb of the goddess, of the sky, of the universe. Jeb and Newt are one of the enigmas of mythology, as the roles of traditional roles of all the later mythologies are reversed, whereas it's typically the Sky Father Oranos, or the Sky Father and the Earth Mother. But in the Egyptian cosmology, it was reversed. It was the Earth Father and the Sky Mother. The ancient Egyptian texts speak of all life pouring from the union between Newt and Jeb, or in other words, the Proto-Indo-European root for God, to pour from the heavens, to pour a libation. And this is also another direct reason why Shu is depicted as being the world pillar between the earth and the heavens, because the human body is literally the world pillar, is literally the divine connection between heaven and earth. We are the gap, we are the bridge between heaven and earth. Rainbow bridge. The Norse Bifrost, the rainbow bridge between heaven and earth. So the human body, you and I, are the microcosm of the world axis mundi, or the cosmic axis, the world pillar, the axis of the earth. The axis mundi is the connection between heaven and earth. So in other words, it's the Shishumna of the earth. It is the connection between the higher and the lower realms, between the universe and the earth, which is what each of us are. We are literally a microcosmic connection between the universe and the earth. Our feet connected to the ground and our head in the stars, what is known as the stellar man. So we are the spiritual antenna of the universe. We perceive the images and the thoughts of the universe, and we enact those thoughts through our actions. We create life. We create things with our hands. In other words, we are the organisms within the body of the earth that come together to create organizations, to create bodies of peoples within the earth. And an organ means that which does work. So we are literally the organs within the body of the earth. We are the organisms that make up the larger body of the earth. Hello everyone, my name is Cullen Smith. I'm a published author. Today I would like to introduce you all to my brand new published book, The Hive Mind Invasion of Civilization, a compendium of esoteric science, symbolism, and universal secrets. If you'd like to purchase this book, you can head over to my brand new website that I've set up at liftingtheveil.tv.
and I will see all of you there.
And this spot, the Axis Mundi, is what is considered as the Omphalos, or the navel of the world. Omphalos means sacred stone. Coming from Greek omphalos, literally navel, or also a hub, as the central point. From Proto-Indo-European ompalo, from the root om, meaning navel. The omphalos is the name of the rounded stone in the shrine at the Temple of Delphi, related Omphalit. Are often relating to or referring to the umbilical cord of the earth, in other words, the womb of the mother, which provides nourishment. Many allegories and natural objects have been used to depict the Axis Mundi, from the mountain, the tree, the vine, the stalk, a pillar, anything that is a phallic pillar, the phallic representation. The stories of Jack and the Beanstalk, Jacob's Ladder, Stairway to Heaven. And this is why every mythology and every culture reveres the sacred mountain. The sacred mount, or what's known as the world mountain, because the mountain is the unification, the male phallic unification between the feminine womb, or the universe. It is the highest point, because the ancients revered the highest point that they could become to God, because the gods were in the skies, where God is, and at the highest point. And this is why the elites have always revered the highlands, and all the royalty have the highlands, where the slaves and the serfs work the lowlands, the low valleys, and they work the fields, and they plow and labor away and toil away in the fields, while the elites scrape the cream off of that labor and reap the luxuries up in the highlands. And again, the human body expresses the symbol of the world pillar, of the world axis. The esoteric depictions of the tree of life, again, as I've covered in the previous series, being the tree of life is the human genetics, being the microcosm of the macrocosm. The human body being the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The human body and the human nervous system being the tree of life. So again, in the previous presentation of the series, I covered the cranial vault as the vault of heaven. And so again, this is going to come up here as well. Once again, the cranial vault and the vault of heaven is the ark or the arch of the covenant between the two hemispheres. The ark of the covenant that conjoins the two hemispheres, that oversees the two hemispheres. And again, this is referring to the human brain. And again, the triumvirate section, the triune brain of the base, the midsection, and the vault, or the cerebrum, which again is the tripartite of the problem, reaction, solution. The base being the reptilian the R complex, being the fight or flight response, the survival, which is the unconscious nature. It is the abyss, it is the base, the abysmal. And then the emotional complex, the mammalian complex, refers to the emotions, or in other words, the subconscious, the reaction, what gets us to respond to the problem. First, there is a problem. The emotional response is how we respond to that problem. And then we have the highest portion of the brain, which is the functional, the rationing, the reasoning, and the logic, which comes up with the solutions to the problem and the reaction to that problem, and thus we have the solution, the problem, reaction, solution. So we have the base, the abyss, the subconscious, the unconscious, the depths, the black of the abyss, the deep subconscious nature. Then we have the emotional complex. We have the conscious mind. And then we have the superconscious mind, which transcends rational thinking and which is inherent knowing, the source of all knowledge, the source of knowing. And again, as I showed earlier, how this also plays out and corresponds directly to the human physiology, to the body at large, being the root of the base of the spine, the root of the spine being the abyss, the depths, with the heart center, the heart chakra level, being at the subconscious, being the emotional level, and then the crown being the illumination, the crown being the conscious or the superconscious, the capstone. So again, how this trinity plays out through every aspect of creation, from the physiology to the psychology to the theology and the mythology, to the anatomy as well. So again, this is the pattern, this is the pater, the pattern of nature and the pattern of creation. The pattern of structure, which again gives rise to the world pillar or the cosmic pillar, which in the human body is we see again as the image of the tree. And again, the tree is the trinity layers, the depths, the roots or the root or the abyss, the bottom, the base, and then the trunk being the support structure, the pillar, canopy being the branches, the illumination, the light. So you have the dark, the depths, the abyss, the underworld, ascending up into the heavens towards the light, from darkness into light, as all of nature and all of life goes. So as I briefly touched upon the tree of life and the tree of knowledge in the previous presentation of the series, again I will touch upon and expand a little bit further here as the tree of knowledge being the tree of your mind, the tree of your brain, the tree of your central nervous system. And this corresponds and correlates to the larger fractal portion, which is the tree of all of life in existence, the phylogenetic tree of life, which encompasses all of living organisms, even ones without a central nervous system or without the centralized tree of life within their own body, such as the human organism, which again, it's the central tree of life within the body. Is your central nervous system, the dendritic patterns, which a dendrite comes from the root of pertaining to a tree. And the reason for this dendritic pattern of all of nature is that all of nature in this electric universe is electric. It is dendritic, meaning it follows the tree pattern. It is electric.
You know from covering my previous etymology videos about the etymology and epistemology of truth and the ancients' interpretations of what they considered to be truth. Again, it's all arising and stemming from the root of the truth, which is the root of the druva, of the tree, of the drew, the root of the drew wood, the true wood of the tree of knowledge, of wisdom, and the firm, steadfast solidity of the everlasting fulcrum, the hyperboloid of the torus, which is literally the eye of the vortex, the eye of the storm, the eye of the hurricane. It is the fulcrum. It is the still, ever-present, omnipresent stillness around which all things turn. Literally the meaning of the universe, literally meaning turning into or turning as one, literally meaning where we remain subservient essentially to the truth, means that we can't be misled, we can't be deterred, we can't be thrown off of our throne. Essentially, we can't be thrown off the throne, we can't be dethroned, we can't be overturned, we can't be pushed around and blown around like a leaf in the wind. We remain fixed and steadfast because the truth is always present. It is ever present, omnipresent. It is always there. And it is our purpose it is literally the fabric of the structure of creation. It is literally the equilibrium around which all things are held. And that equilibrium was discovered by Buckminster Fuller, or at least reworked and rediscovered, was the vector called the vector equilibrium, also known as the cube octahedron in sacred geometry, which is literally the structure of the vacuum of space itself. It is the vacuum, it is literally the geometric and mathematical structure of the vacuum of space, and it is so mathematically perfect that it is literally a perfect equilibrium. It is perfect balance. It is perfect balance remains. It is eternally stable. It is the epitome of stability, and that is the structure of truth right there. That is the very nature of truth, is steadfast. And so when we remain seeking in complete intellectual honesty to align ourselves with the truth, rather than remaining fixed and rigid in our belief structure, to where if the truth begins to prove that our belief structure actually begins to fall away and you are attached to that, your identity, your worldview, your who you think you are, what you think, your place, your position in this world and this reality is, because it's attached to that belief system. If that belief system starts to then waver or falter, or it starts to be disproven as not as truthful as you thought it was, and you are fixed to that belief system, your identity starts to get, it's a vortex. It starts to get sucked out of its center of gravity along with that dissolving belief system. If you're not truly, if you remain fixed in knowing the truth, it is there. It is ever present. And if you remain with that, it doesn't matter what anybody says, or it doesn't matter what anybody else's worldview is, because you have the truth, and if you're disproved, and if you're proven incorrect in your belief system, then it's a good thing to be proven incorrect. You should be grateful and thankful because you now know the truth. And if you are proven correct in your analysis, meaning you are already aligned with the stability and equilibrium of the truth, then that is also great. It is a win-win situation when you align yourself with complete intellectual honesty and wanting to know the truth. The problem is, what if the truth makes you feel a certain way, otherwise known as cognitive dissonance, or your identity is attached to an ideology, to a belief structure that begins to dissolve as your worldview, your reality view, which is a sphere of influence. It is a mental sphere of ideas. And when that sphere begins to be stretched to its capacity, and some people are too fixed, remain too fixed in their worldview, and this means that when their worldview begins to be stretched beyond its limitation, if it is too rigid, it's going to completely pop. or shatter, and that creates a psychological break. It creates psychological shock, or a type of distress or trauma. That is literally what creates cognitive dissonance. Whereas if your worldview, if you allow it to remain more open, more malleable, more flexible, if you allow it to remain more plastic, or in other words, more moldable, more stretchy, more flexible, it can expand to infinite lengths, and your worldview can still be maintained while expanding your understanding to a much greater degree, to where you can hold a much broader perspective, a much wider circumferential understanding of the whole, of the truth, from that eternal still point, from your still point of stability, fixed in the truth that remains in the center, but you allow your understanding of the truth to expand. You allow your reality to expand along with that, without having it shattering and without being attached emotionally to any idea. Because if you are truly intellectually honest and seeking the truth, then being disproven or proven incorrect means that you are still in the wisdom of learning and the wisdom of acquiring the truth, of uncovering and discovering and realizing the truth. So that is a great thing, even if if it's information you don't want to, unless it's what you don't want to know. You're afraid of the truth. So this is your emotional blockage. If you're afraid of the truth, your emotions are what are preventing you from finding that solace, that stability in knowing the truth, even if it's upsetting, if it's disconcerting. But like the vortex, when your world ideology gets attached to something that is extraneous or erroneous, and it begins to falter, like a paint wheel, it gets spun out, and you get spun out and decentrated along with that, and your worldview dissolves along with that. You get taken along for the ride, rather than remaining fixed along with that truth and remaining in that flow.
An Egyptian, Ma'at, is the goddess of the underworld, who is responsible for judging the souls of the dead against the scales of truth. She is truth and justice. She is the scales of balance. She is Libra, the kidneys in the body, which judge the balance between the underworld and the upper regions. The kidneys are the scales of balance between the underworld and the worlds above. Libra at the direct midline, the balancing point between as above, below, and so below. So the spread eagle, which makes firm or makes you solid. She makes you firm, a support, a strengthening, to make strong. When she spreads out, when she spreads her expanse to you, it makes you firm or makes you solid. The firmament, which supports the vault of heaven, as I've covered in the last series, which you need to go back and understand how the vault of heaven is referring to the body, the various places as above, so below in the body, the sexual regions as well as the brain and the skull, the mind. So I want you to pay attention here. What you're looking at is again Jeb and Nut, and Jeb impregnates the sky. The earth impregnates the sky, so what you're looking at again is the world pillar, the cosmic pillar, a direct correspondence with the human skull. As depicted here, you have the human spine as the cosmic pillar, the world pillar, which supports the vault of heaven, the cranial vault. You have the cosmic pillar, the world pillar, which supports the cranial vault. So in other words, you have the Omphalos of the world, which impregnates the cranial vault, which impregnates the sky. So you have the pillar which impregnates the sky. And again, as I showed a second ago, with the power symbol, again you have the phallic which impregnates the arch, the archway. The arch is feminine, the curve is feminine, the phallic is the pillar. So in the human body you have the diencephalon, the basal ganglia, which impregnates the neocortex, the human spine, which impregnates the vault of heaven. This is universal cosmology, the macrocosm of the microcosm within the macrocosm. This is the torus dynamic. Exact same story of a Greek mythology of Atlas, of the Titan Atlas, who is a personification of the mountains, who holds up or supports the celestial sphere. Hyginus emphasizes the primordial nature of Atlas by making him the son of Ether and Gaia. In other words, the son of space and earth, the pillar of support, the support structure of the celestial sphere above the sphere of the earth. Atlas's symbol is the globe, which is why we have the atlas, which is where we get the atlas bone of the spine, which is the atlas bone of the spine, which supports the globe of the skull, the microcosm of the macrocosm. The vault of heaven and the vault of heaven below the waist, below the belt.
Hello everyone, my name is Cullen Smith. I'm a published author. Today I would like to introduce you all to my brand new published book, The Hive Mind Invasion of Civilization, a compendium of esoteric science, symbolism, and universal secrets. If you'd like to purchase this book, you can head over to my brand new website that I've set up. It's still very bare bones. There's a lot of work I need to do on the site, but for now it's got the basic things that I need on there until I upload all of my content. You can sign up for the newsletter to receive email updates on all of my posts as I begin to populate the site with all of my archives of articles, books, videos, and films and courses and all of that good stuff. So you'll get notifications as I begin to populate the website with all of my content on it. So that's a good reason to sign up right now, even though there's no content on it yet. But you can pick up my books there. I've got my Hive Mind book. I've also got a couple other titles that I've released which are just study aids. They are journals such as Divine Manifestations, a dream journal to log your dream and awakening experiences and to highlight any insights or intuitions that may come to you along your process of growth and exploration of all of this content. I've got a food journal to log your nutritional progress and to log your health and fitness progress as well. And I've got a 50 Days of Gratitude journal as well, and I will be releasing several more titles as well to help expand and explore your own creativity and things of that nature. So these make great gifts for any friends, beloved family, any loved ones. So these are great gifts that you can pick up and also support Lifting the Veil and the work that I do in the process. So feel free and head on over to my brand new website, liftingtheveil.tv. And I will see all of you there. All right, have a great day. Thank you. My name is Cullen Smith. This is Lifting the Veil. You can find all of my full books, presentations, videos, films, articles, posts at subscribestar.com/liftingtheveil. Patreon has suspended this work and my account and income stream for this content. So if you are a supporting patron, then please I ask you to move your support over to subscribestar.com/liftingtheveil. And I have just established a completely free, uncensored, totally free speech social media platform that replaces Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, every other platform all in one on liftingtheveil.locals.com. You can download the Locals app and you can join our group and have totally free speech and totally uncensored, unrestricted content access. And there is also a ton of exclusive content, and I will leave the cited reference links in the description down below. So you can check that out for all of my full content, and I will see you guys in the next video. I rely solely on word of mouth, and the recommended algorithms are not recommending any of my videos or films anymore. My channel has literally been completely restricted, so I rely on your help by sharing my work around if you appreciate it, and leave me your comments. I definitely want to know what you have to share and what you have to think about all of this stuff, and I will see you in the next video.